What is going on, Miami Dolphins fans? Welcome back to the Fins Up Network. It's Ben Morgan, and it's Dolphins Eagles preseason week 3 preview. Going to be giving my top 3 things to keep an eye on Saturday night when the Dolphins host the Eagles. And I know, yes, there are plenty more than 3 things for us to keep our eye on in that game, and that's exactly where you factor in. So, as we've been doing, let's hear the top things that you'll be keeping your eye on when the Dolphins host the Eagles in the preseason finale. Go ahead, drop those in the comments below. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you are getting subscribed. But one quick disclaimer before we get started in this video, because we're still not 100% sure of all the players that were impacted by the stomach bug that hit the team earlier this week. So we don't really have much in regards as the confirmation as to who's in and who's out. But we're going to give this a go because I'm sort of operating under the belief that not many of the starters are going to play, and those that do probably aren't going to play all that much. And hopefully anyone that was impacted by that stomach bug has recovered enough to the point where they can play, especially if they're a roster bubble fringe type of guy, because this is going to be important for those types of players. But in no particular order, let's get things kicked off with Skylar Thompson, because especially if we don't see Tua and we don't see Teddy, which I'm kind of thinking might be the plan, let's see if Skylar can once again command the offense and consistently move this team down the field. It's yet another opportunity for him to prove that he's worth a spot on the final 53-man roster and not just a practice squad spot where he could end up getting poached. So essentially making the front office say, you know what, we got to keep all 3 quarterbacks, because you got to keep in mind, Teddy Bridgewater is on a 1-year deal. So if Teddy's the primary backup in 2022, but Skylar can prove that he'd be the man for the job for next year and beyond, that's one less position that the Miami Dolphins would have to worry about in free agency next year. Plus, you would have Skylar Thompson on the cheap, paying for a 7th rounder on a second year of a rookie deal, rather than having to pay top dollar contract for a free agent quarterback, sort of like what they had to do for Teddy Bridgewater this year. So I'm watching Skylar, and I'm sort of prospecting him as a player that they may have to keep this year on that final roster in hopes that he becomes the team's long-term solution at backup quarterback. So that's why I'm watching Skylar Thompson. Let's move on to the next one I've got here. And it's the fringe cornerbacks, because we all know Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, Nick Needham. Those are your staples. Those are your guys at cornerback. But Byron Jones is still on PUP. Nick Needham is day-to-day. We've already lost Trill Williams for the season. The Mackensie Alexander experience turned out to be like a 1-week experiment. He was put on IR. So we need to see some good film from some of these cornerbacks that are more of the fringe guys if we're going to feel confident in the position heading into the beginning of the season and week 1 especially. Now, Keon Crossan has been a pleasant surprise. I think we would all say that. I expect him to stick on this team's final roster. Cade Kohu also performed very well lately. But guys like Elijah Hamilton and Elijah Campbell and Noah Igbenogany, D'Angelo Ross, Quincy Wilson, let's see who can take advantage of some of this extended playing time in the game against the Eagles, maybe earn a roster spot. Because at the end of the day, hopefully we're talking about guys right here that really aren't going to factor into the actual season in 2022. But man, hold your breath, because the way cornerbacks have just been falling victim to injury recently for us, we need as many quality, healthy bodies as possible. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about cornerbacks when I do my 53-man roster prediction video here in like a day or two. But on Saturday, I want to see if any of these guys can step up in game action and earn a spot. And the third thing that I have, like I said, in no particular order, is Cameron Goode and Darius Hodge, because there was a couple week stretch during training camp where Darius Hodge was constantly around the quarterback. He was recording a sack nearly every single day. And then it translated over to the field on week 1 against the Buccaneers. Hodge was the one that ended up getting the strip sack on the scoop and score from Sam Eglevon in that game. Now, I've been a fan of both of these players throughout the offseason, but when you start playing the numbers in regards to who's making the final 53, you can honestly go either way with both of these guys. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about Cam Goode here too, because while he's had some notable moments recently in training camp, in practice, obviously, I've also liked what I've seen from him in his first 2 weeks of preseason action. I think he had 6 tackles in the first game. He had a very solid drive in that second game. A little bit tapered off as the game went on in that one, but this is your chance. This is your chance to step up as a 7th rounder, make yourself known in this game, because these guys are going to be given ample opportunity. So whether it's these guys getting to the quarterback and hopefully finishing with a sack, or if it's setting the edge in the run game, or if it's flying down the line of scrimmage to chase down a running back on a stretch play that went the other way. That's what we always see Cam Goode doing. He's been doing it numerous times already in preseason. I'm hoping that both of these guys can flash on Saturday night. Give the front office, give the coaching staff a difficult decision when it comes down to which linebackers they're going to ultimately end up keeping on the final 53-man roster. But those are the things I'm going to be keeping my eye out for on Saturday night. I've got a lot of, like last week, I have a lot of honorable mentions that damn near made this video. So go ahead, drop what you're going to be watching for in the comments below, like I had asked you to earlier. Let's see if any of the ones that I failed to mention end up making your comments as well. That's what I've got for today's preview video, Miami Dolphins fans. Enjoy the game, and we will check back in with you for the post-game recap. And until then, fins up.